everyone. Welcome to Talkin Kop. It's the post-match show. It finished Liverpool 4, LASK 0. Liverpool top the group. Liverpool guaranteed top spot. No more European football now till March. All in all, happy days. Kev, Chris, how are we both doing?
Good. Enjoyed that. I enjoyed most of it.
Come on, Kev, smile. We won 4-0. We'll get told off.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, I enjoyed most of that. For about 65, 70 minutes, that was a brilliant performance in a lot of ways. And, you know, I done the show with Gav this morning, and I got my lineup almost spot on, which for a Europa League night, that takes some going. All in all, I think pretty much everyone, bar one or two, had a good night. There was a couple that had iffy nights, but in general, everyone had good to very good nights. The only criticism I suppose you could level at them, it should have been 6 or 7. You know, if we were more ruthless, a bit more clinical with the final ball, it would have been a rout, an absolute hammering. But look, it's 4-0, job done. You're through to the next round. You're through to the next round.
Yeah.
You know, you got a token gesture away in a couple of weeks, which is exactly what we need with the run of games coming up. So, all in all, happy days. Delighted with life.
Yeah, Chris worked out well for us now because we can play the kids in the next game.
He won't, but...
Well, he can rest a few, and then because his priority will be the Man United game, who they have a big game. Now, I can't wait for Chris in deep thought, or he's frozen. What do you reckon, Kev? It's a very unfortunate.
I reckon Chris is frozen. I think Chris might have to go back out and come back in.
I think so. Yeah. He looks half asleep. He looks a bit like Simicast, but we'll come to that later. So while Chris tries to sort himself out, he's bugging off now. He's had enough of that. The Simicast lounge enough. That's all it took. Lineup wise, then, so 9 changes from the draw with City. Only Mo and Costas. Sorry,
Mo and Costas.
Yeah, I think you made that a conversation. I think I had 10, you had 10. We had just a different one. I thought he'd have gone with Jones just to give him a bit more minutes in his legs, and Elliott would have played wide right. But other than that, you know, the back four is what I thought it'd be. Gomez right back, Konate and Quansah, because you've got to keep them. Konate needs the minutes, and Quansah, to be honest, you just got to reward him because he's played well. Keller was no problem. And I always thought he played one of the senior centre-backs and you could flip a coin. I think Costas at the moment, because he's the man in, I think he just needs the rhythm. So I think it does some good. Endo, no surprise, he's the DM. Gravenberch didn't start against City. And Elliott deserves another run out.
Same.
And then Salah up front. And Gakpo and Diaz, they were the obvious two because they didn't start against City. So all in all, you know, strong lineup, you know. We had the standard people obviously not happy certain people starting, but I thought,
yeah.
I
mean, Gav made the point this morning when we were talking that he'd have started Trent, and could totally understand it because you've got to be dominating the game. He's going to be in that middle of the park, dictating where passes go. I can see the argument in it, but when you actually look at the breakdown of the fixtures that we've got coming up, and you tonight's game, then Sunday you've got Fulham, Wednesday you've got Sheffield United away, Saturday morning you've got Palace away.
And then
that's a 3-day turnaround. That wouldn't be allowed in Europe. If we were playing in Europe on Wednesday, that Palace game would have to be played on the Sunday. Do you get me? So
interesting.
It's ridiculous. I think after tonight's game, we have 9 games in 27 days. So everybody's going to get minutes. The fact that we made 9 changes tonight, when you look at the actual lineup, Irish international and goal, Gomez, England international, French international, England under 21 international, Greek international, England under 21 European winner, Japanese captain, Dutch international, Mo Salah, Gakpo, Netherlands international, Diaz, Colombian hero. And you made 9 changes.
God, during the days, Chris, we need to make 9 changes, and after that, you'd have to Google quickly. I don't know who he is.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's a nice place to be. Are you back, Chris, or are you still?
Yeah, I'm back. I think I'm just doomed on this StreamYard. Yeah, all good. Back as far as I can tell.
Yeah, good. So, what did you make of the first half, Chris? Because it was all fun and games, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you were talking about, I mean, as Kev said, 9 changes, Keller clean sheet, because it looks like he's going to be playing for a few games for us. Good pace about it.
First one of the season for a minute.
Good pace. They were going at it. Just, it's not been a negative. It just seemed it all got a little bit hasty at times. But like, I never felt massively bar the first 4 minutes that LASK were going to cause us any problems, really, as much as we let them in the first 4. But I don't think anybody massively stood out, and I don't think they would all be. I wouldn't be nervous about any of that starting 11 coming on in a game or having to cover for us. It was a good pace to it. Scored 2 goals. Should have scored more, I no doubt. But like, no easy teams and all that. You know what I mean? You can sometimes just want more.
Oh, come on, Scouts of Pete. We all like a laugh, but let's not take the piss here. Robert might struggle to regain his play if Costas keeps up this form. Do you know what? I thought he was all right tonight, but not being funny. Klopp blew his top 4 or 5 times at him tonight. So we'll go on to that later. But you know, I thought Costas was all right. Actually. But,
he was all right.
He did do a very Costas things in the second half, which is, I think, Klopp was favourite to chin him.
Well, the thing is, when you watch the first 10 minutes of that game, like Chris is spot on. It was almost too hurried. You know, it wasn't a lack of control. It was just making sure the last pass was there, because the way they set up, and they spotted it on the Irish commentary really early. They left 3 up front, so when we attacked, it was always going to be 3v3 at the back. So when they turned it over, it was one ball direct, and it looked like they were in at will all the time. They weren't, but it just looked that way, because either they were going to be caught offside or they fluffed their lines. You know, we defended this one-on-one situations really well. The only one, I suppose, in the first 10 minutes that I was looking at, I was thinking, put your foot on the ball and start to dictate it a little bit more, was Gravenberch. I just wanted him to put his foot on the ball, not slow it down, but add a bit of composure to the play that we were getting. You know, because we were creating chances. We were creating the opportunities for better chances. It just needed a little bit of control in the middle of the park. But when the goal came, everything changes.
If I'm honest, Kev, I quite liked it if Gravenberch could trap the ball. That would have been a good start, because bless him, he just had one of those nights where he looked like he had his feet on the wrong legs. You know, but all players have those games. But so he had a bit of a funny game, very un-Gravenberch type game. He was control let him down, which I'll be honest, is the one thing with Gravenberch you would never accuse him of. But he had won those games. But let's talk about the first goal, because great bowling by Gomez. It's a hell of a header by Diaz. He loves a header, doesn't he, Kev?
It was a brave header, but what made that goal was how quick Joe Gomez got that ball across. If he tried to bring it down and put it in, it would have been cut out. He took it on the half volley and got it in as fast as he could, and it was a really brave header. You know, it was a brilliant goal. Everyone loves a diving header anyway, but to see that goal go in, it was. I know Chris was saying that after the first 4 minutes that he felt relaxed and we weren't in any real danger. All it takes is to go 1 down, and then they park the bus. And it becomes a more difficult night than it needed to be. Getting that first goal changed how they had to approach the game. And it also calmed everything down, because we did improve. You know, we really started to play some good football at times in that first half. And you know, I'm nitpicking a bit about Gravenberch, but that's nitpicking really. The rest of them were really. Harvey Elliott was outstanding in the middle of the park, dictating play. His vision, his range of passing, you know, his composure at times is really, really good. Endo, I think we're just going to have to accept that he's not the quickest on the ball. And I think there's enough. You've seen enough in the first few months of him being at the club. He gets the ball down, he gets his head up, and he plays a pass. He just doesn't necessarily do it very quickly, you know. And It's about the only fault with him because the other side of his game, I really like. I love the fact that he's 5'10", he wears a gum shield, and he loves a header. And he's got that. He's got enough snide about him. You know what I mean? That he loves a tackle, and he loves kicking people. And there was one in the second half where a guy tried to chop back onto his good foot, and he just hoofed him. He just hoofed him, and I loved that. And he just like turned around as innocent as his days long and walked away. And
just fix his gum shield.
You're not going to book me, ref, are you? Look, it's late on. We're miles ahead, so you're not going to book me, are you, mate?
Which, to be fair, we've been asking for that for a while. I love that. We've also been saying for a while that, do you know, sometimes just take him out. How many times have we said sometimes, when he turns like, just take him out, take the yellow. Endo does that quite often. He has the Lucas Leiva about him where he does it and never gets bloody booked, which is actually quite a skill because I don't know how he does it, but he doesn't get booked.
He never gets booked,
which is really helpful.
I thought he grew into the game, to be honest with you. The first half, I wasn't too excited, but he did actually make a run. I don't know whether it was because the LASK got tired or something, but there was one darting run that he took off and he looked like Speedy Gonzalez. But I do think you're stating your intent if you wear a gum shield on a football pitch. You have a fair idea he's going in for a tackle.
Neil Atkinson points out in the Anfield Rap said, if you watch him play, it said, Jordy dribbles the ball. He doesn't actually do a step over or anything like that. He just goes, I'm running straight ahead. If you start I'm running through you. And he just runs into lads. Yeah. It's like a really shit Suarez because he runs through you and still has the ball. And you're going, I don't quite know how he's doing this. I bet he's a nightmare. He's trying, but he puts a gum shield on and train. And all the lads are like, oh, and those here. Step out of the way. But jokes aside,
I don't know what it is about him. I just like him. I don't know what it is. Look, Paul Giovanni said, Endo's the Japanese Lucas. What a comparison. I really loved Lucas as well. I can't help it. I've just got this thing with certain players that, like they say, God loves a trier.
Yeah,
I love that type of player. Look, he's probably not the caliber that you'd want, ideally.
He's a good squad option.
He's not shite. He's a good squad option.
So
he's a squad player. And at times, when you've got a squad of 23, 24 players, the last thing you want is an ego. To manage an ego who isn't your first choice, might not even be your second choice, but you're going to need it. So having 2 or 3 players who are within your squad, who ain't going to give you problems, who you know what you're going to get when you open the tin, and they're not drama queens. I think every top squad has a few of them, and we've probably got 3 or 4, and he's one of them for sure. And I thought, if I was giving him out of 10 tonight, I'd have given him a nice 7.5. I was quite happy with most of the stuff that he did, and he finished off the game really well.
My way of looking at it, Chris, is because he's doing his job. We barely had to play McAllister or Szoboszlai midweek in Europa League games, League Cup games. They're getting bits and bobs. Last couple of years, we've brought squad players in, Arthur Mellows and other players of that ilk, where you're going, we're going to have to play all the regular lads. Why? Because all the squad lads don't stay fit or can't be trusted. That's all he's there for. I don't think we'll see him against Fulham. I think he'll just sit on the bench for the last 10 minutes. I would be asked if he started against Fulham because I think that's kind of the type of team he's fine to play against. But we're now going to have a very refreshed Szoboszlai and McAllister for Fulham, which, from what I've read about McAllister, is handy because have you heard what he was saying in an interview about team meetings for the City game? Could barely keep his eyes away because his jet lag was that bad. He was falling asleep in team meetings, and they actually played really well against City. So, to be fair, I'm quite glad they don't play because McAllister had the kip. So let's talk about the second goal.
As Kev said, I don't think he's going to set the world alight, but looks honest. The only concern, and it's not just looking for criticism, is if he's up against better caliber players. If he gets turned, he looks like he's just going to go through people, and I'd be worried about cards, if you know what I mean, because he's not chasing anybody down. You know what I mean?
He's got that little smile with his gum shield, and the rest go, come on, come on, bless him, he can't help it. So he's got that
Do you think they have a signature gum shield now on the Liverpool shop by at this stage?
I'll be amazed if they haven't brought one out to buy you a Liverpool shield. I'm sure it's coming out. Come on, one thing with FSG, we don't miss out on opportunities to make a buck or two on merchandise.
Definitely not.
The live bird in the middle and the Japanese flags on both sides.
Oh, it'll be the new Christmas stocking filler, guarantee.
Exactly.
I might send Kev one. He'd love that. So let's talk about the second goal. Gakpo, Chris, he loves to tap in, doesn't he? It's becoming a situation. Tap it at the back post. I'm all right with that.
No, it was great. It kind of really, if they had any hope of taking a swing at us again, to hit a second so quickly, and whether Mo was actually deliberately.
Oh, he's going again. Oh dear, he's got Costas Wi-Fi on today.
No,
it's a good move because Chris is out here stealing my merch idea. Sorry, Ashley. What the really good was, I think Diaz tries to get the shot off and it doesn't work, but they recycle it really quickly back out to Mo. And then look, Gakpo loves that tapping, doesn't he? He absolutely loves it.
Yeah, Chris is back now, but yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, the fact that they were able to recycle it, get it back out wide again, hammer it across, and he's there at the back post, tap in 2-0. And it was like buses, one goes and here's the other one straight away. And it was brilliant because it was what we needed. It was that comfort zone then. It was 2-0. Whatever hope LASK had of getting one. A scuffy set piece, an offside trap that didn't work, a well-timed run, a mistake, fine. You ain't getting two. And then half of my attention started looking at the other game. I was like you, Chris. I had the alerts. I had the alerts on.
And all I kept getting alerts was LASK. To be honest, I don't think I was amazing. Every time I looked at the alerts, I kept going, LASK, Union player booked. But every 10 minutes, there's a Union player booked. Thinking, they must have a guy sent off by sometime soon. But, go back to it.
But yeah, look, it went to 2-0 and it was happy then.
But let's talk about the two nearly historic moments that happened. Both our fullbacks nearly scored. One who's not scored for 5 years and one who hasn't scored ever. So I think Joe Gomez's chance came first, but he takes a pot from distance. It's not far wide. He's getting ever closer. Maybe the Europa League could be his moment for a goal. What do you reckon?
Well, I was hoping, I'm praying for him to get a goal purely because I've got access to the Talkin Kop Twitter account. So when he gets his first goal, I'm going to go absolutely mental on that. But it was a good hit. It was a good hit. It was a good clean hit. And
like his head. It
was almost one of those hits that if he'd have hit it with the outside of his foot, it would have curled in. It was there to be hit. You don't. If Trent takes that shot on and it just goes wide, you're like, oh, great effort. Joe takes it. It's like, what are you doing shooting from there? You're never going to score.
But from that position, that's what we want him to shoot.
That's what you got to do. I thought he had a really good game. I was really, really impressed with Joe Gomez most of the night.
He's doing all right in that inverted role, He doesn't do it
like Trent.
He isn't going to do it like Trent. And I think people have to get that out their heads. He will do an inverted role, just a slightly different way. I thought he did fine. I think he's doing that fine. I think he also in the best as Joe Gomez because he's had a lot of game time this year, probably more than we expected. But which then means when he's getting thrown into games now, he doesn't look rusty because he's only played a few weeks earlier, so he's keeping it in. But I must admit, Chris, the Costas hit, that looked top corner all the way. Kev thought the keeper had tipped there. Once the replay went, no, it was just literally that close. It was an absolute screamer of a hit, to be fair to him.
If he had hit it half a foot or a foot further back, that was coming in off the underside of the crossbar. It was pure. He absolutely hammered it. And all I thought of was you, Brackie. The mini hitter. I thought it was a love letter.
The Telegram group went ballistic over that, going, good job at going and say Chris hates him.
No, he hit it a peach. And he went for it. It was deliberate. It wasn't,
The criticism we've had of him, he's had similar positions where he's not hit it and he's took it down and played it back. And you've got just hit it. I'm thinking, that'll be funny. Robert would hit it from there. It'd go in the stand because it'd be nowhere near the goal. I wouldn't trust Robert shooting anywhere. So yeah, I think people have sort of had this theory that if it's gone in, I'd be gutted. Couldn't care less. So I'd have been made up.
I thought it was a good game, and he started to, within the chat, we've often seen it, and he just needs minutes, and he seems to be, dare I say it, you're not kind of counting down the days at the moment for Robbo. So I mean, that's a positive.
No, I could definitely say that. I'm not like, oh, I hope Robbo's back soon. I'm not doing that. I do think, but I do think we saw both sides of Costas, because we'll come to the second half. Because
you would. You're Costas watch.
And to be fair, Kev pointed out to me, and you watch it, he got pelters off Klopp's second half. But
no, I'll tell you what it was.
It's a few was getting annoyed doing the second half.
I'll tell you what it was. It was halfway through the first half. They were down the left-hand side, and he tried to whip across it. It didn't quite work. He got the ball back, and it was a simple pass to lay it into Gravenberch that was next to him, and he put it about a yard in front of Gravenberch, and we lost the ball, and everyone was out of position. So he's running back, and Klopp was yelling and roaring in his ear to play the simple ball well, to play the simple ball right. For all of the good crosses that he put in, and he put in some belting crosses tonight. There was one that went right across the face of the goal, and all Gakpo had to do was carry on his run.
Yeah.
And he'd done a couple of them. Really good final balls. He got it into the right areas, and either the forwards didn't carry on their runs, or it was just a shade off. But then he did the other side of his game, where he just gave away a simple pass. And by giving away a simple pass in that area of the pitch, Gomez was in the wrong place. Costas was out of position. There was 5 or 6 players that were taken out of the game by the fact that he gave away a simple ball. You can't afford to do that. And the better sides will punish you for doing that, especially when they were being brave, leaving 2 or 3 up front all the time. That's how the turnovers came about, was giving away a simple ball in a bad area of the pitch. And it wasn't through anything like that. A lot of it is because it was too easy. It was too easy.
To fair to Costas, he didn't do that against City.
No.
Thor saying Chris Brack doesn't count the FA Cup win versus Chelsea. I know Costas scored the winning penalty. It doesn't actually count, though, as a career goal. The goals and penalties don't actually count. They say how many goals did you score. They don't count. Wise Mo will be over the 200 mark now. So I know he scored in the FA Cup, but if you look at his at the moment, goals scored for 0.
The one thing that I enjoyed about it, and again, we're talking about Costas, is that at least for me, it felt like a little bit of a throwback to when literally Trent and Robbo were weekly outdoing each other on getting down the wings and getting crosses in for assists. And again, I don't know why Robbo, because nothing wrong with what he's been doing, but just maybe hasn't been at that level of his form. It was just refreshing to see he only had one intention, and everybody knew he just had to basically square it back out to him, and he was just going down the line. And it felt like a throwback to me.
Yeah, because me and Kevin said earlier on when he got back to the side, he seemed to get to three quarters of the pitch. I would always cut back, and me and Kevin were always like, well, his job is to whip the ball in, because that's his strength. I mean, also he was under instruction, because otherwise he'd have got whipped off earlier. So, but it seems to me today he was given a bit more of a license to drop it in. I also think it's probably because Klopp actually doesn't really rate LASK that highly, which is probably why I do think the lads took a few more risks, which is probably why they did catch us out a little bit more second half on the break. Because I think Liverpool took the risks of, we just don't fancy any of your lads. We think we can outscore you, outrun you, outplay you. If you score 1, we'll score 3. I think we kind of sort of took that approach with them, which I don't think we'd have took, which we didn't take with Toulouse at home, put it that way. So I think we've gone, you're bottom of the group. We know why you're bottom of the group. So let's put them to the sword. Anyway, half time, no real changes, apart from it only being 2-0. That was what your only gripe, which I always say, if your gripe is you're only winning 2-0, it's a nice place to be. Interestingly, despite the fact it always feels like we concede first, stat came up today, we've only conceded twice at home this season first, which is interesting. And in both those games, we've won. So not only are we setting a record of now 10 consecutive home games where we have won by 2 clear goals or more, which is a new record for Liverpool. Kev, we just don't lose at home at the moment, which is quite a nice place to be, isn't it?
It's a nice cushion to have. And the thing is, I don't think we talk about it enough, and I don't think away clubs fear coming to Anfield like they used to, but they should, because they're getting nothing out of these games. And I'm looking at the fixture list, and I'm looking at the home games coming up, and I'm licking my lips at some of them because I've watched a lot of football. I watched more football, I think, in the last week than I have done in a long time. And it's mainly against mainly the sides that we're going to be playing soon. And I'm looking at my lips at some of them because if they play how they've been playing and they come to Anfield and play like that, they're going to get torn to shreds. And I've got so much confidence. I've got so much confidence in this squad at the minute that we can score goals. That when you look at the front four that we have, Jota is going to be out for a while by the looks of it. Jota could be, into January, February by the time we see him again.
Well,
he doesn't tend to have. He doesn't tend to have. Yeah, but he doesn't tend to have niggly injuries, does he? He tends to have big ones. But
always against City as well. You know, that's always when we play bloody City.
Always against City, yeah. But no, I'm just quietly confident in the fact that we can score goals against anyone, and different types of goals, and from everywhere. You know, I think you were saying to me there during the game that, what is it, 5? We have 5 players now over 6 goals.
We've got 5 goals. We've got 5 players now who've already got 5+ goals before December. First time since 92-93.
Yeah,
so
they're coming from everywhere, like. And we still haven't scored that enough goals, I don't think, from set pieces. That's still going to improve. That's going to get better. So you factor those into the equation as well. I think we're in a really good spot. I think we're underrated by an awful lot of people still. I think people are still looking at this squad thinking, yeah, it's just been, we're in the first year of a rebuild. They don't know what to expect with it. I'm looking at the squad thinking, yeah, I said it from the start of the season, this squad is going to do something this season. I'm convinced of it. And the more I see them playing, even the weekend against Man City, when you suffer, because you're going to have to suffer playing against Man City sometimes. There were players that were there for Man City that you expected them to do something and they just couldn't. Not that didn't want to, they just couldn't because they weren't allowed to. The likes of Phil Foden. And Costa's done an amazing job on him that day. And you knock it onto tonight, that really could have been a rout. That should have been game done dusted by halftime. We were really good in the first half. And
speaking of
you go into the second half, and it was like it's just hit the ground running again. It was just chances straight away. One went over the bar within 2 minutes of the start of the second half, and it just kept going and going and going.
I mean, speaking of set pieces, Chris, we finally get a penalty kick. Gakpo just does what you want, strikes it, just doesn't give up, and waits for the keeper to fly out, thinks it passed him. Nice easy penalty. I actually thought he was going to take it, and then remembered, of course, Mo's on the pitch still, so there's no chance of that. So Mo steps up, 199 goals now for Liverpool. Hopefully gets 200 at the weekend. He's definitely getting his groove back with his pens now, as in.
It was a P.
Them, but they now get smashed in a corner where you go, it doesn't really matter who's in goal. They're not getting anywhere near it.
Gave the keeper the eyes, and it was, dare I say it, about as perfect as you can get. It may not have been near the post, but didn't look in doubt. If you think back maybe 6-9 months ago, it was a bit of a toss of coin. So, as Kev said, we changed 9 players tonight, and I'd still fancy 4 of them coming in if we ended up in some injury crisis or whatever. And as like Kev, I watch a lot of the other teams. I wouldn't be nervous about meeting too many. I'm going to be honest. I'm like a child, and I was like it all last night on WhatsApp. All my United friends. It's just there's not enough sleeps. I just can't wait to get into December. We just look like we're motoring nicely, and I just want the United game. I just want the United game. I think we're going to destroy them.
There you go, Scouser Pete. Jurgen's never won a league title without a Japanese player in the squad. There we go. That's the reason you sign Endo, just to make sure. There we go. It's a handy stat to know.
Everything down there for dancing, I'm telling
you. He's the head of the game club, and he just make sure you get your lucky chow. So
well, he's played the big bucks, mate.
I know. So then big subs come on, so you're thinking, all right, 3-0 up, we'll bring the kids on now, get these guys rested. No, we'll just bring on the England international Trent Alexander-Arnold, the under 21 international Curtis Jones, and this guy called Darwin Nunez, who, by the way, I generally thought was going to butt one of his own team because he was furious they stopped passing the ball to him. He was every goal I thought that was doing it. He was just doing nothing. He was so desperate for a goal today, which is partly why I love him because he's just crackers, isn't he? But Chris brought those three on. Kev mentioned to me when we were sort of chatting during the game was the tempo went up another level, didn't it? At least got the impetus going again.
Yeah, Trent came on and definitely brought it up. I'm gonna be honest with you, I a bit disappointed with Nunez. It's this 6-yard thing. I just like him to score the simple ones.
We're just 1-4-0. Cheer up, will you? My God.
I know. Would you ask me a question? No, look, the tempo went up, and I would have thought everything was set up nicely for Nunez to get to one of those kind of like, I'm here, fresh on, and just about the last thing any defense wants to look at. And as soon as he hit that one from 6 yards, it just kind of went, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not. And I didn't notice as much now that he was fuming with his teammates. I thought he was more annoyed with himself because he had about 2 chances in 3 minutes. And one of them.
One's unlucky because it's deflected. The other one, Kev said it was a good save, but I sort of feel from that angle, you stick with him to score.
Mm. But look, it's not an important games for missing goals in, but I just would love him to start getting like the Gakpo tap-ins and like a few of them because he's all over the place. He's there, he's willing, and his confidence doesn't seem to ever get knocked. But it's just you just kind of want to see that one where that's what strikers do, and that's not a criticism. I mean, it's just
I think it's fair. I think it's very fair. I mean, the thing is, there are going to be games when he gets those chances that you're going to need him to score. You're going to need him to finish it, And for someone who plays where he plays, and he gets the amount of chances that he gets, and God willing, he carries on getting the chances because the goals will flow. But you just want him to take these, especially that one. It was 6 yards out, and credit to the keeper. It was a good stop, but the keeper shouldn't have been in the equation. That should have been buried, high in the corner. And if it was a close game, everyone in the chat, we're all having a very different conversation. If that game finished a draw and that's the chance that you had, you're having a very different conversation to the one you're having at 4-0, But at the same time, he gets in those positions a lot.
Yeah.
For someone who is supposedly a streaky, not a very good number 9. He's got the intelligence to be in the right place at the right time. So I'm not really worried about him, but I'm like you, Chris. I want him to start taking these. You know what I mean?
He sees a lot of a bit of his subtlety because we were seeing a bit more of that earlier in the season. We saw that with his goals away in Argentina. But slowed it down, calm head, like a subtle finish, not smashing it. I don't know why he just seems to have gone away from that. I don't know if that's just maybe that is a little bit of a confidence thing. Maybe when he's out of form, he goes to his trusted, I'll put my foot through it. Because, I mean, you speak to most strikers, they always say there's a certain finish that if they're not feeling great, there's a certain finish they go for all the time. That's the one they trust. And then they try the other ones when they're a bit more confident. Maybe there is a bit of a confidence knock there. I'm not sure. We will see. Other than that, it went a bit end-to-end, didn't it? I mean, they had some half chances. Some of them were offside. Some good saves by Kelleher. We had the moment where I think Costas smashes into Kelleher, but the frustration is, and Klopp called it out rightly, is the guy's miles offside. But Costas has to fly in, think he's going to block something from a guy who's about 3 yards offside. And I think that's where this raise the flag nonsense gets annoying, where you go, he's miles off. and it nearly could have caused an injury between Costas and
Keller.
That's where you get a bit frustrated. Type ones I get where you go, look, if you're lucky, you're unlucky, but he's miles off. That's where
the thing is with that one. Costas did everything what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean? If you're in doubt, you get the ball and you get rid of it, and you clean out everybody. And he didn't know that there was a flag, or there was going to be a flag coming, so he did everything right. But my God, my heart was in my mouth when I saw him slide into the ground, and I saw Keller coming out as well, and I saw him collide. I thought, oh, geez, he's after cleaning his head off here. You know, he's done it. You know,
I love the way I love how he smiled.
It was pure dread.
But did you like how he smiled at Keller? Go, you're all right. And you see Keller go, you didn't took my fucking head off, lad.
Yeah.
I don't know me to, but give me a minute. You just didn't kick my head off.
Yeah, it was one of those. But there was a couple of instances. Joe Gomez had a really good block.
Yeah, he did.
Towards the end of the game, where he anticipated where the striker was going to try to shoot. And he was about a couple of feet away from it, but he just got in the way. And it was a brilliant block. That was when he'd moved into centre back. We'd made a few more changes, and it was great to see Connor Bradley coming on. I was delighted to see him coming on. I was delighted to see him named on the bench first and foremost, because I didn't, he hadn't been around for a while. You hadn't seen any noise about him whatsoever. And, he had a good preseason. He played well in preseason. And
we expected him a lot in this competition, didn't we? Before he got his injury, sadly.
Big time. I expected him to be playing pretty much all the domestic cups and Europa League games. If he didn't get injured, I expected him to be starting the same way as Quansah is now. But the injury that he had was a bad one, and they were bringing him back slowly. And then all of a sudden, I seen tonight that he's named on the bench, and 84th minute he comes on with Luke Chambers, and it's like, oh yeah. Trent moves into midfield, and we go to an orthodox 4-3-3. He didn't tuck in as what Trent is doing. We literally went to two fullbacks who stayed wide and allowed the three in midfield to have a bit more space between them. See the game out type of thing. But I was delighted to see him coming on. I think he's got real potential, this kid. Everything you talk to any of the pros who were at Bolton, you listen to any of the journalists who covered Bolton last season, everyone was waxing lyrical about him. And they were talking in the same way as what the Bristol press were talking about Gerald Quansah. He's mature beyond his years. He's an old head on young shoulders.
Played season, wasn't he?
He's got all the tools in the trade to be anything that he wants to be. And having a manager like Jurgen Klopp, who will give youth a chance if they show they're good enough, he will give them their head and nurture them and bring them on and develop them. He's at exactly the right club. I just really hope it works for it. I just think that he's another one down the line. In time, he could save us an absolute fortune in the transfer market. He really, really could. But nobody is going to save us more money in the transfer market down the line than Gerald Quansah.
Yeah,
I don't know what you guys think about him. I mean, go on, you guys whack. What do you guys think of him tonight?
You talk about Quansah, because I thought he was excellent again.
I again taking a leaf out of Matt's book. I actually wrote down notes, and just that's why the Greek flag went up. I was kind of like Tsimikas. He's been very consistent, but between 65 minutes and 70, Quansah did two things that could have just completely changed the ebb and flow. As much as we were up, but there was the block challenge that he put in. But then when he shepherded the guy out who had at least 2 yards on him, and we got a kick out, I just kind of went, do you know what? Just quality. It didn't faze him at all. He didn't kind of go, oh, sure, we're 4 up or anything. Just did his job and looked like a man, an absolute man on the pitch. So, by that particular point, I was just like, do you know what? When they asked for man of the match, I'm going to have to probably just say the fact that I didn't notice everything was tidy, distribution great. But those 5 minutes, 2 back-to-back, when the game was gone. But then those kind of things keep clean sheets, builds confidence. Clean sheets are the more of those we put together, we're in the running for anything that we're in. And I just thought that 5 minutes swung it for me. He was so solid and just does not. I wouldn't question if I saw his name. I wouldn't be going, oh, he's playing one of the young fellas and he's giving them minutes. The lad knows what he's doing, and he wasn't out of his depth for a second. So I just loved it.
He has that Van Dijk like calmness. For someone so young, he just doesn't look flustered.
No.
You know, he's just got that air about him. And me and Kev both said he got right smashed in the face the last couple of minutes and just sat up and kind of daggered the bloke as if to like, what are you doing? Don't be doing that to me. And just stands up and go, right, I'll be back on in a minute. I think he quite enjoyed that, didn't he, Kev? We both thought,
yeah.
I think he quite liked it. I think he just, because he centre half, so he's thinking, well, that's part of the game, which I do think some young centre halves aren't keen on that side of it. So
yeah, I think he's got all of the making. I mean, you hate putting too much pressure on any young player. He's one of the best young centre backs I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah,
and they said it in the commentary over here. The last time we had a homegrown centre back of this kind of quality was Jamie Carragher. You know, and Carragher went on to have a long, long career at the club. I think he's the heir apparent to me.
Yeah.
He can be whatever he wants to be at the club. I think he's that good. You know, I don't think he's finished growing yet either. But mentally, you know, he just sees a picture and he senses danger. He's got those things in a centre back that you love to see. You know, that calmness, the assuredness, the distribution, like you say. He's got and you saw it more so in the away games. His range of passing. He's got that 30, 40-yard ping that he can play out to the wing as well in his locker, and he can carry the ball. You know, there was a towards the end of the game when he just took the ball out of defence and laid it off to someone in their half. He's learning from some of the best players that the club have had at centre back. You know, definitely in the last 30 years.
He just looks quality.
He does, doesn't he?
He's quality.
Yeah, I can't remember a game where I've watched him, and he just doesn't look ready. He looks. Whereas, do you remember the last guy that we raved about that we thought was going to the young kid, the French kid? His name escapes me now, but a big, really big guy, and we thought he was going to be the next big thing. And as soon as he went in playing with the seniors, he just looked like a fish out of water.
Oh, Billy Cometio.
Yeah, he just looked like he wasn't ready. You know, this guy's the complete opposite.
Now, I don't think.
Yeah, but this guy's the complete opposite. From the day he came back to the club, and the first time you see him in meaningful games, he just looks like a proper player.
Yeah.
And he's literally only just got his first England under 21 cap.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he's gonna be a decade plus at the club, hopefully. You know, he's going to win a lot of things.
I haven't sat down and just studied because, you know, when you see kids coming through, you go, they're getting those kind of minutes. But when you think of it, like any commentary, you've never heard one of the senior pros have covered for him or whatever. He just does his job and he does it well. You don't even second think it. You don't. Just quality. And as Kev said, it sounds crackers. Fingers crossed, no injuries or anything like that. But he looks like somebody who's going to be at the club for 8 to 10 years and could be, you know, on the path with Carragher or something like that. I just can't see him anywhere else. He doesn't look like there's nothing about his demeanor that strikes you unsettled, head turning. So, yeah, a major positive of 2023.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And Emmett makes a point there as well in the chat.
Kelleher was very good tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what he was asked to do was really good. Even the saves that he made that were clear offsides. There was a reflex save he made towards the end that he panned out, and he got a really good hand on it and got it away. But his distribution, his calmness on the ball was excellent. It was a really good night for him. He made a couple of saves that you want him to make, but it was his distribution up and back and his calmness. You know when Alisson does it all the time, where he looks for that ball right out into the touchline, whether it's out to Costas or out to Mo, usually to Mo on wide on the right. Kelleher was finding those passes all night long. He was fantastic.
He was trying to find Diaz. Paul's asking it. Is Quansah Scout? No, he's from Warrington. He's actually from 20 minutes up there from me.
Yeah.
So yeah, northwest.
Northern lad, so it's good.
Northwest lad. Let's talk about the fourth goal. All this fun and games. We forgot about the fourth goal.
Best goal of the night.
Oh, and it starts with no surprise, Gerald Quansah. Get the ball calmly.
No.
Quansah,
it started way before that. Way before that.
Go on.
The ref. No, the ref. They put up the time for how long was left. Mm-hmm. From that second till the time we scored the goal, they never got a touch of the ball. I was loving what I was seeing because I thought we're just gonna keep the ball. It's like you've had your fun. You're not having the ball back now. This is our ball. You're not having it back. And they just passed it all around the back, and it was like a keep ball session. Then the ball went to Quansah, then into Endo. Endo waited a perfect ball into Trent. Trent carried it 30 yards. That pass into Cody Gakpo was inch perfect. That's why you love to see him in midfield, because if you saw, they did a graphic on the TV over here of the space that he had to run into. The fullback was running away from him. There was nobody else around him in midfield, and Trent just ran into the space. And the pass into Cody Gakpo was absolutely inch perfect. Cody took it, 2-touch, bang, onto his strong foot, and bang, hits it. That, for me, was the best goal of the night. And I love Diaz diving header goal. But to be able to do that after playing 90-plus minutes is phenomenal. But I just love the fact that we were playing keep ball and then decided to open them up. It was one of my favourite goals of the season, if I'm really honest. Really loved it.
Wow.
And it's a player who's been getting probably a bit of criticism, Kev, will probably say, because, where does Gakpo fit in? Does he do enough? Has he getting enough goals? He's on 6 goals now in all comps, which this early in the season is not a bad return. I think sometimes Gakpo's a bit of a victim of his versatility, because he can play as an 8, he can play as a 9, can play wide left. So he's almost become one of those players going, well, we'll just stick Gakpo there. Well, he can play there, He probably doesn't have a settled position because he's so versatile. But I thought he did a really good number 9 performance today. And then when Nunez came on, I thought he did fine left wing, which is where he played a lot for PSV. So, all in all, I thought Gakpo had a really, really good game. And that'll do his confidence world ago, because he knows he's going to get a run now, especially with Jota being out for a while.
Yeah, he strikes me as the kind of player. I mean, I've said it to you before, excuse me, that from what happened at the tail end of last season, which wasn't one to remember, I kind of had this feeling that Gakpo was going to have a real breakout season. And he hasn't been bad, but it didn't feel like he pushed on. But tonight, even his goal celebration, the second one, he just strikes me as the kind of guy who's like, yeah, this is the start of something. Just keep giving me minutes. Because he was thereabouts, and he keeps making runs that not necessarily he's getting passes for. But it was an absolute screamer of a goal. If the lad was feeling frustrated, he obviously put it into the ball, because he absolutely hammered it.
Yeah.
So I was delighted for him.
Great show here as well. We finished the game with 6 youth team players, 6 youth team pros, and Elliot on the pitch. It's not bad, that, because it was not so long ago our academy was getting quite heavily.
And in fairness, Joe Gomez came to the club as a kid, So
yeah, we bought Joe Gomez at what, 17?
17, yeah, 6 million. I think we paid for him.
I don't think it was even that high. I think it was about 3.5. I think he was buttons.
So I thought it was less than that.
Yeah, I think it was absolute buttons we paid for him. So
yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right. Before we carry on, Paul likes to predict your lineup for Fulham. Go on, Kev. You go first, because Chris will have 17. So we've got another 10. We've got another 10 minutes yet for Chris, because it's 17.
I'm looking at our lineup for tonight. So it'd be Kelleher, it'd be Trent, Matip, Virgil, Costas. It'd be Szoboszlai, McAllister, Curtis Jones, Salah, Darwin, and Diaz.
Okay.
I think Gakpo misses out. I know. I still prefer. I still think Gakpo's position is an 8. I think that's going to be his best position for us with the game when he's facing at a defensive line when he can run at them.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't mind seeing him start as a left-sided 8, but I could understand why you probably go with Curtis Jones.
I'm off that line. The only one and R and over is Jones. I know Gravenberch should have a great game tonight. I feel like Fulham might be a game where you want someone who's a bit more of a ball carrier, just to drive through the lines a bit more. Curtis is more of a give and go, shot from distance. So I think it's horses for courses. I kind of feel like Sheffield United is actually the game for Curtis Jones. Tough away. I think that's what we want. So I would probably edge towards Gravenberch over Jones, only because I think for that type of game and the way Fulham will probably set up is you probably want another player who's a ball carrier to go with Szoboszlai as a ball carrier. It does leave Simicast possibly a little bit more exposed, but I kind of feel like we should in theory have a lot more of the ball. So I think we agree on 10 there, Kev. Chris, let's hear your 17 changes.
I'm with you, Brackie. It's always going to be Jones. Yeah, no. I don't know the lad personally, and I'm sure he makes his mum tea and everything. It's just I don't see.
You actually put in a comment, he's only Fulham standard, I believe was the phrase you used after the Man City game.
Yes, which I stand by it. I stand by it. Listen, he had a very short period tonight. Gomez had shielded the ball. He had 2 players coming in on. Jones was standing on the touchline. Everybody in the world knew what ball Gomez wanted out. And Jones stayed on the line and Gomez passed it straight down where Jones should have moved to basically give him space to clear it out or pass on. I just don't get the Jones thing. And I'm not trying to have an argument with anybody. No. It's not this season. I'm trying to have an argument with you. I know. It's just like, look, it's like, everybody's got opinions about. I've never believed Curtis Jones was going to be an important player for Liverpool, and I've never changed. And it's gone even backwards for me. And I'd like it's again. It's not a. I just don't like the guy. I just don't. I've never seen it. I can't. You're probably going to give me 10 minutes of some game against somebody, but I mean, it's just. Liverpool, as I said to you before we came out, there has to be. I know, and basically Kev nailed me, but there just has to be better players, and it's nothing personal against him. He will walk into the Fulham team. He will walk into the Fulham team.
He would walk into most teams. You just don't want to see it. If you want to replace him, sound, but you need to find someone who is homegrown English and could do what he can do better, and who's available. Good luck.
But I obviously can't answer because I say Kev absolutely nailed me before we came on with that.
I didn't nail you. So, I just literally.
That's the question. It's when people say there should be someone better. You go name them, and they either name a load of foreign lads. You go, he has to be English though because that's what you play. And everyone goes, he could. Oh, we'll put Trent before by right back then. That's what it's not an easy do this. The reason I like Jones is, I think defensively he works for the system. I think he generally keeps the ball pretty well. I think he's actually lost a little bit of his individuality. I think that's kind of been coached that way. I think he's being coached to be another Genie-esque player, which is the cog in the machine. And to be every big game we've had this year, when he's fit, bang, he's in. Doesn't care. Yeah. He doesn't really care who's available. So he obviously does.
Well, for Fulham, give me Gravenberch with a broken leg instead of Jones.
Yeah, I think you're going to probably get your wish for Fulham. No, the one thing with Curtis Jones, what he does do really well is he keeps the ball and he recycles the ball. I think
that's why therein lies the problem, Kev. He keeps it too long.
No, that's not the problem. That's exactly what you want. when you're trying to have 65-70% of possession of the ball, you need players who are comfortable on the ball and who can keep the ball and who don't shit a brick when they get the ball. You know, it's like people forget he's 21. It's just the fact that he's been in and around the first team for 4 years. People expect like miracles. He's not. He's 21 years of age. He still qualifies for the England under-21s. He'll be at the next European Championships as an under-21 player. And at the end of the day, this is probably the first season I think that he's ever had at the club where he's generally been available, where he's generally been fit. And I'm just looking at his stats here now. Is literally compared to every other player, his touch map, his heat map, his pass percentages is, I suppose, the only criticism you can have of him is that it's always a safe option. He doesn't take the risks that you'd want, like Szoboszlai will take. Szoboszlai will take the risks. He used to when he was a winger.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
When he played on the left wing.
I think that's been coached into him. Is
yeah,
your role is to be almost like the genie. As I call it.
It's not even that though.
You let the other side do the attacking.
If you're having a box midfield and you're having Szoboszlai as the free spirit in that, you know, the player who's going to make runs in behind, who's going to take pot shots from outside the box, who's going to be that extrovert. You need two players who aren't. And McAllister looks like he's prepared to do the job. But you have to have a second person who's prepared to do that job as well. You can't have McAllister in the middle and two players who are just going to go. You just can't. It doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is because as soon as you leave space in the middle of the park, or good sides, and the Premier League is littered with them, they will box you off and play around you and play through you. Whereas we've got I think we've got the second best defensive record in the league this season.
Yeah.
Largely because of how the box midfield is working. And that's in spite of people saying we have to go and get a 6. We don't. What we need is players who can keep the ball and recycle it and create good chances. He's not perfect. I think there are better players out there. But I think to get the player that Chris, you were talking to before at the start, to get someone who's homegrown, or not, someone who's homegrown, not club grown so much, because club grown won't be a problem from next season, but homegrown might be. I think the only one you could really look at the minute for me is Jacob Ramsey at Villa.
Yeah,
I think if you were to go out and say, right, we'll bring in Jacob Ramsey, I think you could definitely get 40, 50, 60 million for Curtis Jones, no problem.
But I also think Jacob Ramsey's a different type of midfielder to Jones. I think he does a different. He plays it differently. He's more of a Szoboszlai type. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
but
it's not a bad thing.
I also think you need a mixture. We are going to have to add to midfield in summer anyway, because if Thiago doesn't go in January, he's definitely going in the summer.
The only thing just to keep on the Jones train, is what I like. The one thing, like when you read stats about a player, what I can't understand with all of that is, the guy is always injured. He's always recovering from a niggle or a knock. So, like, I mean, when people give glowing reviews, I'm kind of going, but he hasn't played any real match time because he's in for 2 and then he's out with something.
Over 100
and
games.
He's young.
But over 100 games by the age of 22? 21, sorry?
I know.
That's not.
Yeah, but how many in the last 18 months?
Well, I can tell you how many minutes he's played this season. He's played 335 minutes this season so far. And in comparison to everyone else, he's slightly below what McAllister is. But then you take into account the games that he missed through suspension. He missed 3 league games through suspension that he was available for. So at the end of the day, I think Klopp has trusted him more this season than he ever has. And I think a lot of it is out of necessity because Thiago just isn't available. And he's the kind of player now that we really need, that we're missing. We're missing Thiago, what he can give you on the pitch, but we're also missing the space in the squad that Thiago's taken up. Thiago's taken up a foreign player that we can't now use, that we could really use the body. So if he's not going to be available, he's missed 7 months. So if he's not going to be available, then, you know, the talk of giving him a year extension is for the birds. You know, the question, we're going to finish up in a sec, but the question really has to be on Thiago is, does a decision need to be made? Does a decision need to be made on him in January to be able to free up a space that if we were to bring someone in, that he could take up that space that Thiago's taking up in the squad? Because if Thiago's not going to be available from now to the end of the season, then when the January window closes, you just can't fucking register him.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a shame, but you'll have to pay up his contract. And as much as FSG are going to hate to do it, he's taken up a valuable space in the squad now that we really need. You know, we've been really blessed a lot this season with the amount that we've rotated, that we've only really picked up a couple of significant injuries. You've seen other clubs where players are dropping like flies because managers are overusing the squad. Klopp has managed this whole squad really, really well. But he's done that despite not having Thiago there.
Yeah, Thor makes a good point. Thor makes a good point as well. So Man United had lads like Nicky Butt who made the difference for them, but went under the radar. Don't underestimate. Yeah, Nicky Butt played loads for United. Is he going to go down as one of the United great? Absolutely not. He just
John O'Shea's another one. John O'Shea's another one.
You know, we're not saying I do think he's probably better. It was definitely better than John O'Shea. But that. Not every player has to be a superstar, but they just do a job. You know, Henderson, I think Jones is the new Henderson. He's just the easy lad. Just like, he's the easy lad that goes, if we don't win, we're going, it's that fucking Jones, isn't it? It's just, I think he's just that lad. And there's always that lad in every club. I think if you, well, maybe not United, I think they hate all their players. But if you speak to City, there'll be somebody who plays City and they all hate. It's just what clubs are. There's always a player that most fans go, I can't be arsed with him. I'm a bit like that with Simicast, to be fair. I openly admit, I'm not a big fan of him. I can't knock him, though, because I actually think that's 3 or 4 games. He's been decent. In fact, City was really good. So, I have no problem. But I have no problem saying that. When he's good,
Before we go, has anyone seen any of the news that came out of Aston Villa tonight?
There was some trouble, wasn't there?
It looks like
a planned riot meetup, and there seemed to be some burning of. They took a leaf out of Dublin's book and started burning cars and stuff. I didn't read any more about it. It just flashed up and it's being condemned by everybody. But it seemed a bit pre-organised.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here now, and they're saying that the Villa wouldn't allow any of the away fans in. And they'd reduced their ticket allocation anyway. But apparently some police officer got injured outside the ground as well. So it looked like it all kicked off. You know, so you just hope nobody was seriously injured. But it looks like, I mean, from what I've seen tonight, it's been a good night all round, really, for the English clubs. Brighton got a good way win. They're top their group. They're through. I think Villa won tonight, so they're through. West Ham got a late winner as well. Thomas Souček got a late winner for them, which all bodes well for the coefficient for this season. That the Premier League will get 5 clubs into the Champions League for next season, which all bodes well.
Yeah. Only because we glossed over it. Mo Salah's now, I think it's
199.
199, but I think he's all played. Mo Salah this season, games played 19, goals and assists 18. Unreal.
Yeah, he's frightening, isn't he?
The problem is, Mo's got the same problem Ali's got, is when Ali makes great saves, goes, yeah, that's what he does. I think we all get a bit blasé with Mo, don't we? Going like, Mo scored, that's what Mo does, doesn't he? He always scores or assists, but it's not normal. Does it? But it's ridiculous. Interesting breaking news. Well, rumored breaking news is the talk is the independent panel investigating the Man City allegations is scheduled for autumn 2024. Just find a bigger carpet, shall we? My daughter will be in university before this gets looked at. You know what I mean?
There was a story in the Times this morning that Everton could be potentially facing another breach this season.
Well, yeah,
from the summer just gone.
I did read, as much as I understand that Evertonians' anger, and I've read bits of the report. So I'm not going to claim I know all of it, but there is sort of that the Premier League could have gone for. I think they say Everton of 125 million is how much they are over by over 3 years. The aim is to be at 0, but you're allowed a leeway of up to 105. So let's claim that it's 20 million over.
Yeah, but it's not 105 million per year. It's 105 million combined of the 3 years. And they're at 370 million for the 3 year period. That
of the allowances, where obviously certain things are allowed off, they said they calculated at 125. Everton are claiming it's only 110, so that's why there is the appeal over the points, because Everton are appealing it, saying I think during the last couple of years the Premier League put in a bit like a sliding scale, which is if you breach by this much, it's this point by this much, or so point. So that's why Everton are arguing it. So they're saying we say it's 10, you say it's 25. If you agree about 10, by your rules, it's not that. Talk is, though, the Premier League could have actually gone for more than 125, and they've decided either just to let them off, or whether they're thinking that that's a bit harder to prove. So it'd be interesting. I do wonder, though, and this is a question I've heard posted a couple of podcasts. Obviously, Everton have gone, the Premier League's corrupt. That's their wish. That's their way of thinking. If the Premier League back down and say, actually, we won't give you 10 points, we'll give you 4-point deduction, does that mean they're not corrupt anymore? Because I kind of feel like if it's corrupt, appealing won't do anything, lads, because they'll just keep it at 10. So,
well, that's it.
I don't know, mate.
Not to be paranoid about it, but it feels like Everton are going to be the whipping boys as an example. And then if they're even going to be serious, they'll move on to Chelsea because they won nothing massively significant for the years they were originally quoting. But I can't see the City thing because it's such an egg on their face. That
I think I think the City one's more complicated as well. Look, we'll see how it plays out. Right, before we go, because Kevin needs to go to bed because he's getting grumpy.
Yeah, I'm getting tired now.
Man of the match, Kev.
Man of the match.
Would you say Costas? I'm kicking you off.
No, it's Quansah. Quansah is the best player in the pitch for us. I'll be honest, I think there was some good performances all over the pitch, some good honourable mentions, but Quansah was outstanding. He was an easy 9 out of 10 for me. He was pretty flawless all the way through. And Chris, the way you described that marshalling a player out as Virgil-esque, it was exactly that. His presence alone was enough. And the way he marshalled that game tonight, I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was ridiculous.
The best. I think that it was the old Alan Hansen quote. The best centre backs don't get the shorts dirty. Don't need to.
Yeah.
Virgil's like that, and he started to show that style of defense. To be fair, Joel Matter's a bit like that actually, because Joel Matter, you don't see him sliding for big tackles. He just chips them out as well. Which is
it's a long way to get back up for Joel when he slides in. Like,
yeah, that's true.
The older you get, it gets a bit creaky. The older you get, I tell you.
Chris, are you going for Quansah as well?
I am mainly. We did the job tonight. I didn't think anybody massively stood out, but that 5 minutes between 65 and 70, I just quality. So yeah, definitely Quansah.
Just because I'm contrary and I like to be. I'll go for Gakpo. 2 goals and a win in the penalty. Yeah. I always think that sort of does well for getting you a man of the match, you know. So, but,
yeah, he was good. He was good.
So, but listen. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like, please subscribe. We are doing memberships. I keep forgetting my admin. So if you do want to become a YouTube member, it's $3.99 a month. What will happen is we will do shows which will be exclusive to members only on our members YouTube channel. And if you're not a member, you will get them. They'll put as a audio download, a bit later on. So, but listen, they're the options there. But listen, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we will see you all very, very soon. Speak to you later.